Don't let them take the girl." Those were the last words Elara Vance whispered before disappearing into the darkness 18 years ago. The next morning, everyone was told she was dead. But on a cold autumn evening, 18-year-old Elara Vance discovered a secret that shattered everything she believed about her life. It happened when a stranger was found hanging from an old cottonwood tree outside the settlement. People rushed to the scene. So did Elara. The man's face was unfamiliar, but the object clenched in his hand made her blood run cold. A silver pendant, exactly like the one hidden beneath her shirt. Before anyone could take it, the stranger opened his eyes. Several people gasped. The man wasn't dead. He grabbed the nearest person and rasped 3 terrifying words. "Protect Helena's daughter." Then he died. The crowd erupted into frightened whispers. Elara's heart nearly stopped. Nobody knew she was Helena's daughter. At least, nobody should have known. Yet the dying man had spoken directly about her. Suddenly, she noticed something even worse. 3 strangers standing near the back of the crowd were staring at her. Not at the dead man. At her. One of them slowly nodded, as if confirming something. As if they had finally found who they were searching for. Elara immediately turned and pushed through the crowd. Fear followed her all the way home. That night she couldn't sleep. The dying man's words repeated endlessly inside her mind. Protect Helena's daughter. Why? From whom? And why had her mother been mentioned after 18 years of silence? Just before dawn, someone knocked on her bedroom window. 3 slow taps. Elara froze. Another 3 taps followed. Carefully, she moved closer. A folded piece of paper rested on the windowsill. She quickly grabbed it. The message contained only one sentence. "If you want the truth about your mother, come alone." No name. No explanation. Just directions leading toward the mountains. The sensible choice would have been ignoring it. Elara did the opposite. By sunrise, she was already riding beyond the settlement. The trail eventually led into Apache territory. The farther she traveled, the stronger her unease became. Then she heard shouting. A horse raced through the trees. Behind it came armed riders, 6 of them. They weren't chasing the horse. They were chasing a young Apache boy. The frightened boy stumbled near a rocky slope. The riders closed in. One reached for him. Then, everything changed. A hawk cried overhead. The next second, an arrow landed in the ground directly in front of the attackers. The riders instantly stopped. Silence filled the canyon. A man stepped from the shadows. Tall, broad-shouldered, calm. His long dark hair moved with the wind. An eagle feather was woven into a braid near his shoulder. A symbol of a promise kept, according to Apache tradition. His expression never changed. Yet every rider looked nervous. Kaelan Ashkii had arrived. The respected Apache warrior was known throughout the territory for many things. His wisdom, his courage, his loyalty. But most of all, for one unusual trait. Kaelan never broke a promise. Not once, no matter the cost. The riders clearly knew it too. "Move aside," their leader demanded. Kaelan's voice remained calm. "The boy stays. We don't have time for this." "Neither do I." The leader reached for his weapon. That was a mistake. Within seconds, Apache riders emerged from the surrounding cliffs. The attackers suddenly found themselves outnumbered. They quickly retreated. The moment they disappeared, Kaelan turned toward the frightened boy. "Are you hurt?" The boy shook his head. Only then did Kaelan notice Elara watching from the ridge. Their eyes met. For one brief second, everything else disappeared. The noise, the canyon, the people. Just those dark eyes looking directly into hers. Then Kaelan's expression changed. Not curiosity, not surprise, recognition. As if he already knew exactly who she was, as if he had been expecting her. A chill ran through Elara. Before she could speak, one of the Apache riders approached Kaelan and handed him a small leather pouch. Kaelan opened it. His face instantly hardened. "What is it?" the rider asked. Kaelan pulled out a silver pendant. The same pendant found in the dead stranger's hand. the same pendant hanging beneath Elara's shirt. His eyes immediately shifted toward her. For the first time, genuine concern appeared on his face. Then he spoke words that changed everything. They found her first. If you think Kaelan is hiding something, subscribe now, because the secret connecting Elara, her missing mother, and the Apache warrior is far more dangerous than either of them realizes. Far below, hidden among the trees, a man watched the entire scene. A scar ran across one side of his face. His cold eyes never left Elara. Then he smiled. After 18 years of searching, the daughter of Elara Vance had finally been found. They found her first. The words hit Elara harder than she expected. Before she could ask what they meant, Kaelan closed the leather pouch and handed it back to the Apache rider. "Take Nantan and return to the village," he said. The rider immediately obeyed. Elara noticed something important. Nobody questioned Kaelan. Nobody argued. People listened because they trusted him. That trust only made her more curious. When the others finally left, she guided her horse down the ridge. "You know who I am." It wasn't a question. Kaelan's expression remained unreadable. "Yes." The answer surprised her. No denial, no attempt to avoid the truth. Just a simple answer. Her heart started racing. "How?" Kaelan looked toward the distant mountains. "I promised someone I would watch over you." Elara felt a chill. "Who?" For the first time, hesitation appeared in his eyes. "Your mother." The world seemed to stop. "What?" "Helena came to me years ago." Elara stared at him. "No, that's impossible." "I wish it was." Anger suddenly replaced her shock. "My mother died." "That's what you were told." Those 6 words shattered something inside her. Every birthday, every lonely year, every visit to the grave she believed belonged to her mother. All of it suddenly felt uncertain. "You knew?" she whispered. Kaelan lowered his gaze. "Yes." The betrayal hurt more than she expected. "You knew all this time?" "I gave my word." "And that mattered more than the truth?" For a moment, genuine pain crossed Kaelan's face. The reaction caught her off guard. Before he could answer, a gunshot echoed through the canyon. Both of them instantly turned. A bullet struck the rocks nearby. Another followed. Then a third. Someone was shooting at them. "Move!" Kaelan shouted. He grabbed her arm and pulled her behind a large boulder. The sound of horses thundered through the canyon. The attackers had returned. But this time they weren't alone. More riders emerged from the cliffs. 10, maybe 12. Leading them was the scar-faced man who had been watching from the forest. His cold eyes locked onto Elara. A smile spread across his face. There she is. Elara felt fear crawl through her chest. The man looked less like a hunter and more like a predator who had finally cornered his prey. "Who is he?" she whispered. Kaelan's jaw tightened. Darius Crow. The name clearly meant something. Even Kaelan looked uneasy. Darius spent 20 years searching for the map. What map? Before Kaelan could answer, Darius shouted across the canyon, "Bring me Helena's daughter and nobody gets hurt." His voice echoed from the cliffs. Elara's stomach dropped. He wasn't guessing. He knew exactly who she was. If you're wondering why a dangerous man spent 20 years hunting one family, subscribe now because the secret Helena protected is worth killing for. More riders appeared behind Darius. The situation was getting worse. Fast. Yet Kaelan remained strangely calm. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small carved wooden hawk. Elara frowned. "What's that?" "A reminder." "Of what?" "That fear makes people forget who they are." Even now, with danger surrounding them, he carried the small hawk. His unique habit. Whenever life became difficult, Kaelan touched the carving and remembered the lesson his grandfather taught him. Stay calm. Think clearly. Protect what matters. The gesture steadied him, and somehow it steadied Elara too. Then something unexpected happened. A young Apache scout came racing toward the canyon. He barely stopped his horse before shouting, "Kaelan!" The urgency in his voice was unmistakable. "What happened?" The scout looked directly at Elara. Then he delivered words that changed everything. "We found Helena." Silence. Absolute silence. Even Darius stopped moving. Elara's heart nearly burst. "What did you say?" The scout swallowed hard. "We found Helena Vance." Tears immediately filled Elara's eyes. After 18 years, after endless questions, after believing her mother was dead, someone had found her. But the scout wasn't finished. His expression darkened. "She's alive." Hope exploded inside Elara. Then the second half of the message arrived, and she's with Darius. The hope vanished instantly. Elara turned toward the scar-faced villain. Darius smiled, not the smile of a man hearing surprising news, the smile of a man whose plan was working perfectly, because he already knew. And judging by the confidence in his eyes, Helena Vance wasn't his prisoner. She was helping him. She's helping him. The word struck Elara harder than any bullet could have. "No." She shook her head immediately. "No, you're wrong." The Apache scout lowered his eyes. "I'm only telling you what we saw." Elara turned toward Darius Crow. The scar-faced villain sat calmly on his horse, watching her reaction, almost enjoying it. "Tell her," Darius called out. "Tell her what her mother has been doing for the last 18 years. Kaelan stepped forward. "Don't listen to him." But doubt had already entered Elara's mind. For years she had mourned her mother. For years she had believed Helena Vance loved her. Now everything felt uncertain. Why hadn't she returned? Why hadn't she sent a message? Why had Kaelan been protecting her all this time? The questions were becoming unbearable. Then Darius did something unexpected. He pulled a folded letter from inside his coat. "This belongs to her." Elara froze. Even from a distance she recognized the handwriting, her mother's handwriting. Darius tossed the letter onto the ground between them. No tricks, no games, just the letter. Kaelan immediately moved toward it, but Elara reached it first. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. The message was short. "Elara, if you are reading this, then the secret is no longer hidden. Do not trust anyone who refuses to tell you the truth, not even the people you love. Find me before the next full moon. I have spent 18 years waiting to explain everything." Love. Mother tears blurred Elara's vision. The letter was real. Every word felt real. Slowly she looked up. Her eyes met Kaelan's. For the first time since meeting him, uncertainty filled his face. And that uncertainty hurt, because a small part of her wondered if her mother was right. What else was Kaelan hiding? If you're starting to question who can actually be trusted, subscribe now, because the next revelation changes Elara's entire past. Before anyone could speak again, a war cry echoed from the canyon walls. Apache riders appeared from every direction. Darius immediately realized he was outnumbered. His smile faded. "Another time," he called. Then he and his men disappeared into the wilderness. The confrontation was over, but the damage remained. That night, the Apache village prepared for an important gathering. The village sat beside a winding river beneath towering mountains. Fires burned near family lodges. Children played near their grandparents. Elders shared stories beneath the evening sky. For the first time, Elara witnessed the deeper heart of Apache life. Not warriors, not conflict, family, community, tradition. Everyone belonged to something greater than themselves. Yet even surrounded by warmth, she felt alone, because every answer seemed to create new questions. Hours later, she sat beside the river. Quiet tears rolled down her face. She thought no one noticed, but Kaelan did. He always did. Without speaking, he approached and sat beside her. Several moments passed. Only the sound of flowing water filled the silence. Finally, Elara spoke. "Did you ever love someone?" The question surprised him. Kaelan stared at the river. "Once." "What happened?" His fingers touched the small carved hawk hanging from his belt. The habit appeared whenever painful memories surfaced. "I lost her." The sadness in his voice felt real, deep, old. Elara suddenly understood something. Kaelan carried wounds nobody could see, just like she did. Is that why you keep pushing people away? A faint smile appeared. Maybe. Their eyes met. The moment felt different. Closer. More personal. For the first time, neither looked away, and for one brief second, Elara forgot the danger surrounding them. Forgot Darius. Forgot the map. Forgot the mystery. All she saw was Kaelan, the man who had protected her, the man who had lied to her, the man she was beginning to care about despite every reason not to. Then footsteps interrupted them. Dakota approached at a run. His face was pale. Very pale. Something was wrong. What happened? Kaelan asked. Dakota struggled to catch his breath. We found the second journal. Kaelan immediately stood. The second journal doesn't exist. That's what we thought. Elara's heart began pounding. Second journal. What does it say? Kaelan asked. Dakota looked directly at Elara. Then he delivered the biggest shock yet. It says Elara Vance was never your mother. The world stopped. The river, the stars, the village, everything. For 18 years, Elara had built her life around one truth. Now that truth had just been ripped away, and judging by the horror on Kaelan's face, he had never seen this twist coming either. It says Elara Vance was never your mother. The words hit Elara like a physical blow. No. She took a step backward. Dakota held the weathered journal tightly. I'm sorry. No. Her voice cracked this time. That's impossible. Every memory she possessed fought against the claim, every bedtime story, every embrace, every tear, every sacrifice. Helena had been her mother. She had to be. Elara turned toward Kaelan. Desperate, confused, hurt. Tell me he's wrong. For several painful seconds, Kaelan said nothing, and that silence terrified her, because for the first time since they met, he genuinely didn't know the answer. The next morning, the entire village gathered for a council meeting. Apache elders sat in a circle around a sacred fire. The atmosphere was tense, respectful, serious. According to tradition, important truths were discussed before the community so that wisdom could guide the decision. Elara sat beside Kaelan. Neither had slept much. The journal lay in the center of the gathering. An elder named Chaitin carefully opened it. It was written 23 years ago. The crowd remained silent. Chaitin continued. The journal describes a child born during a dangerous conflict between several powerful families. Elara's heart pounded. Every word felt personal. The child's identity was hidden to protect her. The elder turned a page. The people protecting the child agreed that nobody would know her true lineage. A murmur spread through the gathering. Then Chaitin read the next line, and everything changed. The child was entrusted to Elara Vance. Entrusted, not born to. Entrusted. The world tilted beneath Elara's feet. Helena had raised her, protected her, loved her, but according to the journal, she wasn't her biological mother. Tears immediately filled Elara's eyes. For the second time in days, the foundation of her life cracked beneath her. Kaelan quietly reached for her hand. The gesture surprised her. So did the warmth. She looked toward him. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. His presence alone was comforting, and somehow that made the tears fall harder. If you're trying to figure out who Elara's real family is, subscribe now because the next revelation changes Kaelan's future as well. Before the council could continue, a horn suddenly sounded from the edge of the village. Once. Twice. 3 times. Danger. Apache warriors immediately stood. The signal meant strangers were approaching. Fast. Very fast. Minutes later, scouts arrived. Their expressions were grim. Darius Crow is here. The entire gathering erupted. Some people moved toward defensive positions. Others rushed children and elders toward safety. Kaelan remained calm, but Elara noticed his hand tighten around the carved wooden hawk. his sign that danger had arrived. Then came the second piece of news, the one that shocked everyone. "He's not alone," the scout swallowed. "Elara Vance is with him." Silence. Absolute silence. Half the village looked confused. The other half looked terrified. Within an hour, Darius and his group appeared at the edge of the settlement. No attack came. No weapons were raised. Instead, Elara rode forward alone. The moment Elara saw her, emotions crashed through her heart. Anger, hope, pain, love, confusion. All at once. Elara slowly dismounted. For several seconds, mother and daughter simply stared at one another. Then Elara spoke. "I never stopped loving you." Elara's eyes filled with tears. "Then why did you leave me?" The question echoed across the gathering. Everyone waited. Elena's voice trembled. "Because they were hunting your family." "My family?" Elara nodded. "The people searching for the map weren't looking for land." She looked directly toward Kaelan. "They were looking for blood." Confusion spread through the crowd. Even Kaelan frowned. Elara took a deep breath. Then she revealed the second major twist. The map doesn't lead to a place. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The map leads to a person. A chill swept through the village. Elara slowly turned toward Elara, then toward Kaelan, and finally spoke the truth she had hidden for 18 years. "The two of you were connected long before you ever met." Kaelan's face went pale. Elena's eyes filled with sorrow. "Darius isn't searching for treasure." She pointed toward Kaelan. "He's searching for the last living heir of the Ashkii bloodline." Every eye in the village turned toward Kaelan. The respected Apache warrior looked genuinely stunned. But Darius Crow smiled. Because unlike everyone else, he already knew. And judging by the confidence in his eyes, Kaelan had just become the most important person in the territory. The problem was that Darius wasn't finished. He slowly reached into his coat and removed one final document. A document that made Elena's face lose all color. And whatever was written on that page was terrifying enough to make her whisper only 3 words. "He knows already. He knows already." The fear in Elena's voice sent a chill through the entire village. Nobody had ever seen her look afraid. Not even Darius Crow. The scar-faced villain slowly unfolded the document and smiled. "You spent 18 years hiding the truth," he said. "Did you really think it would stay buried forever?" Kaelan stepped forward. "What truth?" Darius looked directly at him. "The truth about your father." Silence fell across the gathering. Even the wind seemed to stop. Kaelan's father had been one of the most respected Apache leaders of his generation. His death years earlier had become part of local history. Everyone knew the story, or at least they thought they did. Darius held up the document. "Your father didn't die in an accident." Gasps erupted around the council fire. Kaelan's expression hardened. "What are you talking about?" "He was murdered." The words hit like thunder. Elara closed her eyes. Dakota cursed under his breath. Several elders exchanged troubled looks. The document contained witness statements from decades ago. Proof that a group of powerful men had ordered the attack that killed Kaelan's father after he refused to surrender control of tribal lands and sacred Apache sites. Everything Kaelan believed about his past suddenly changed. The respected warrior who never broke a promise stood frozen. For the first time, Elara saw him truly shaken. Then came the final twist. Darius lowered the document. "The men responsible are dead." Kaelan frowned. "Then why are you doing this?" For the first time, Darius's smile disappeared. Because the answer wasn't what anyone expected. "I'm doing this because I was his son." Confusion swept through the crowd. Darius pointed at the document. "My father helped plan the attack." The village fell silent. "My entire life has been spent cleaning up his sins." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Darius looked exhausted rather than evil. Broken rather than cruel. "I searched for the map, because it contained proof of what happened, proof that should have been revealed years ago. Elara stared at him. The villain she feared wasn't chasing power. He was chasing the truth. Helena stepped forward. Then why threaten people? Because nobody listened when I asked peacefully. His answer carried years of frustration, years of failure, years of anger. At last, the entire story stood exposed. No treasure, no hidden fortune, no secret kingdom, only the truth. A truth buried by fear, a truth that had hurt families for generations. One by one, the elders stepped forward. The evidence was reviewed. The old lies were finally acknowledged. And before the entire community, the truth about Kaelan's father became part of their history. No more secrets. No more hiding. No more fear. As the sun began setting beyond the mountains, the tension that had haunted everyone for 18 years finally disappeared. People talked openly. Families reunited. Old wounds began healing. Then Elara quietly walked away from the gathering. She found herself standing beside the river, where so much of her life had changed. A few moments later, familiar footsteps approached. Kaelan. Of course. For a while, neither spoke. The river flowed gently between them. Finally, Elara broke the silence. So what happens now? Kaelan smiled faintly. I've been wondering the same thing. She laughed softly. The sound felt strange after everything that had happened. Good strange. For the first time in years, she wasn't carrying questions. She wasn't chasing ghosts. She wasn't searching for answers. She was simply living. Kaelan looked toward the mountains. All my life I thought my duty was the only thing that mattered. And now? His eyes found hers. Now I think some things matter just as much. Her heart immediately understood what he meant. The air between them changed, warmer, closer, more honest than ever before. I was angry at you, Elara admitted. I know. You kept secrets. I know. You drove me crazy. A genuine laugh escaped him. The rare sound made her smile. Then his expression softened. But I never stopped protecting you. The words touched something deep inside her. Because they were true. Even when she doubted him. Even when she was angry. Even when everything fell apart. Kaelan had always been there. Elara stepped closer. So what are you promising now, Kaelan Ashkii? His fingers brushed the small carved hawk hanging from his belt, the symbol that had guided him through every storm. Then he answered, that from this day forward there will be no more secrets between us. Tears filled Elara's eyes, not from sadness, from relief, from hope, from love. She reached for his hand, and this time he held on. Months later, spring returned to the valley. Wildflowers covered the hills. Children played beside the river. Apache families gathered for dances, storytelling, and celebrations beneath the stars. The community was stronger than it had been in generations. One evening, during a traditional gathering, Elara sat beside Helena, Dakota, and the elders as music echoed across the valley. Nearby, Kaelan was teaching younger boys how to carve wooden hawks. He looked happier than she had ever seen him. When he caught her watching, he smiled, and despite everything they had endured, that simple smile still made her heart race. Years later, people would tell stories about the warrior who never broke a promise, and the young woman brave enough to challenge every wall around his heart. Not because their path was easy, but because they chose each other through every secret, every loss, and every truth. And in the end, that choice changed both their lives forever. Epilogue. On a warm summer morning many years later, a small boy ran through the valley holding a carved wooden hawk above his head. "Look what Father made for me!" Kaelan laughed as the child raced past. Elara stood nearby, watching the two people she loved most in the world. The mountains rose behind them. The river sparkled in the sunlight, and for the first time in a very long time, the story that began with loss had become a story of family, peace, and enduring love. The promise had finally been kept.